is Andrew Mbuva, the end of content TV. And because you want us to believe you, I have 3 questions for you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. President, let me start with Twake. You talked of Twake. And we are seeing it being postponed to April. And you said that the government has sourced 9.3 million. Billion, yes, billion to complete. Maybe which phase are we talking of, and why should we believe you? Because it is not the first time that we are seeing Twake being postponed. Will it not get to April and then we start hearing stories? The other one, talking of the affordable houses, Mr. President, from where you sit, do you think these houses are really affordable? Because we understand that apart from what the monthly payment of maybe 3,000 that the locals have to pay once they get into the houses, there is like a deposit that has to be made for that house to be yours. Do you really believe that they are affordable to the mama bogas that you keep talking about? And again, we've heard that some are being started when there is no resettlement plan, and then it throws the governors into maybe a state of unknown, and then they keep delaying. Maybe, what do you have to say about that?
I think you have been reading a lot of social media. Let me tell you, Andrew, that for Twake, it is a big program, yeah? And the reason why we have kept on postponing Twake is because we are using it, or we are building it on borrowed money. You know, if you are building it on somebody else's money, you can never be sure when you are going to complete it. And that is why I am saying we must change. We must have a national infrastructure fund that gives us a fund like the housing fund. Today, we have been able to build Kamwongo Market in less than 1 year. Why? Because the resources are in our control. The housing fund is in our control. When we start, we know when we are going to finish. The reason why you see affordable housing, to your example, I was in Makueni yesterday, right? In that Wote, there are two housing projects. There is one that was called Civil Servants, that is now 35 years. It has not been completed. 35 years, it has not been completed. The one that I started 10 months ago is on 10th floor. Right? Why? Because we are using our own resources to build the housing program that I have today. And I have thought about it from end to end. Right? So the reason why Twake is delaying is because we are building it using borrowed money. So we speak to this guy, we get the other group, we get the other bank, and you are not in control. That is why I'm saying we have to rethink the whole construction of our dam infrastructure. It is the reason why I am saying let us have a national infrastructure fund, the way we have the housing fund, that will make it possible for us to have control of when we are going to complete whatever project that we start. So don't worry about Twake, you know. It has delayed for almost 10 years. We will eventually, the government to complete it is my government. So don't worry about it. Let me also talk to you about affordable houses. You know, affordable housing is something that I have thought about very seriously. It is not something that arrived yesterday, and many governments have tried to figure it out. If you look at the house we are building today, under ordinary circumstances, a house that we are building for 2 million shillings would be something like 8-9 million shillings. Why? Because number one, land cost. Number two, cost of building. Number 3, resources, borrowing money to buy the materials to build. So we have cut down on all those areas. We have cut down on the cost of land. We have cut down on the cost of money to build. We have cut down on making sure that we have a consistent and the contractors are paid consistently and on time. And that is why this house that is affordable, we have houses costing 600,000. We have houses costing 1 million shillings. We have houses costing 2 million shillings. I think the most expensive house is 3 million shillings. Ordinarily, you would never get a house of 3 million shillings anywhere. Houses start, the 3 bedrooms start from 10 million going upwards. So I can confirm to you that these houses are affordable. Of course, if there are different categories, there is a social house. For a social house, you don't need any deposit. For an affordable house, you need a deposit, which is 5% of the cost. For a market house, because there are 3 categories, there are people like you who have a good job that earns good money, and you want a good house, you know, a 3-bedroom, self-contained with many other amenities, then you pay a deposit. But people in the social category, the mamambogas and the others, they do not have to pay any deposit. It is called rent to own. Are we together? So that is a position. And I want to, we are open. We are an open book for your information. You can check the numbers, and professionals can check the numbers. Those houses are truly very affordable. I would want to challenge you. Take time, Andrew. I want you to visit some of the social houses that have been built and go and interrogate those people, whether in Mukuru or in any other part of Kenya. You will discover that they are truly affordable houses.
So our president wants Kenya to be like Singapore. The skyscrapers, the spotlight trees, the efficiency, the digital economy. All very inspiring. But before we start sketching our skyline, perhaps we should first fix the road to Manga, Mote and Momwamu in Nyamira County. Because, Your Excellency, Singapore did not become Singapore by holding conferences about Singapore. It started by fixing the small things. Roads that don't drown in mud, promises that don't dissolve in the rain. It's been 3 years since the then Deputy President William Ruto stood on a podium in Nyamira and promised a tarmac road. The people there are still waiting for that tarmac you launched, not at a construction site, but on a campaign podium. You even quoted the kilometers, 300 of them. Remember? Yes, it was true in speech, but kwa ground mambo ni tofauti. What the locals have today isn't tarmac, it's a mud bath with potholes so deep they could qualify as fish ponds. And in Bungoma, residents are now hosting weekly road shows, not the political kind, the protest kind, because vehicles get stuck so often they've become part of the local landscape. Yet you keep hearing that Kenya is on the Singapore path. Yes, maybe if Singapore also started with unfulfilled road projects, delayed tenders, and citizens trekking through sludge. Let's be honest. Before we dream of flying cars and bullet trains, we should probably learn how to keep a pickup from sinking in a village road. Singapore wasn't built in a day, but it was built. Meanwhile, in Kenya, we are still launching what we never finish, promising what we can't deliver, and branding potholes as development challenges. You see, Singapore didn't get there by launching projects it never finished or by turning campaign pledges into folklore. Singapore built system. But here, we build ceremonies and cut ribbons. In fact, in Kenya, we have 2 kinds of roads. Those that exist in speeches and those that exist in suffering. The road to Singapore, it seems, is paved with colorful promises, cancelled tenders, and angry residents. So, Your Excellency, by all means, let's chase the Singapore dream. But maybe our road to Singapore begins in Nyamira and Bungoma and every forgotten corner where citizens are still waiting for the basics. Because you can't pave the road to Singapore if you haven't even paved the road to a school. And that is my memory.
Mido nacheza mdhaminisi na kaona dai moshi tazivuta vuta. Limit ya fuliza imeongezeka nkoma. Neza shika jag na kanudu fie. Nacheza kiroro. Neza fika soko. Turirime mdagi meditation naki. Shusha kibandaski cha podonde neza. Rada nama vuta izoma.